What is up, guys? It is Sunday the 8th of January, which means CES is wrapping up today over there across the pond in Las Vegas. So let's talk about all the stuff that's been announced and the things that are being talked about, because it was one hell of a show. First up, in a move that feels like it happened like weeks ago, what actually happened on Tuesday was that Honor announced their new smartphone, the 6X. This phone is definitely surprisingly solid, with a 5.5-inch 1080p display, 3GB of RAM, 32GB of storage, and a dual-lens camera on the back. Underneath those dual cameras you'll find a fingerprint scanner, and on the inside you'll find a 3340 mAh battery, as well as a Kirin processor, which, why is all of this surprising? I mean, sure, it's decently spec'd, but it costs only £225. Sure, the Kirin 655 isn't the fastest of processors, but it's definitely up there in terms of powerful, and definitely up there in terms of value for money, which makes this device just great if you don't want to be constantly playing 3D games non-stop. And the added benefit of not playing those 3D games non-stop means that 3340 mAh battery is rated for roughly 2 days of usage. On top of that, the fully metal and glass phone definitely looks more expensive than it actually is. And if you like headphones, great news, it has the headphone jack. And on top of all of that, as well as a SIM card slot, as you'd expect, it has an SD card slot if you want to expand your storage past the 32GB if you have loads of videos or music or for whatever reason. Just to clarify, this isn't the fastest of fast, but it is definitely amazing when it comes to value for money. And when they first announced this phone, they didn't hand out one, no, they didn't even hand out two, they handed out 300 of them on their Twitter accounts. So they're really pushing this phone, and I cannot wait to get my hands on one. Heck, it only has to be roughly 80% as good as my S7, because it's like 40% of the price. Elsewhere, Razer announced Project Valerie. Can we just take a second to appreciate how great they are with naming their projects? Like, they all have really interesting names, and they're usually the name of a female, but it kind of brings it to life a bit more. Project Valerie is a gaming laptop, but it's not a normal gaming laptop. It's a gaming laptop that has 3 screens. Now, this isn't exactly the thinnest of devices, as there are 3 screens, and on top of that it's not exactly the smallest, considering each of the screens is 17 inches, so you're not really using it for portability anyway, but when you open it up, those 2 screens kind of slide out, and you all of a sudden have 3 displays. If you're the kind of person who needs a lot of power on the go, this might be for you, but it's really interesting to see where this will sit, because it's just tough, because if you're a power user, then you want something to be a bit more powerful potentially, and if you want it to be portable, then you won't want something that big, and if you want 3 screens, very different ways to achieve that as well. So I think it should be more of an accessory than an integrated solution, but we'll have to wait and see, and you can't blame Razer for like not coming up with interesting ideas. Personally, my least favourite thing about a laptop is only having 1 screen. I'm so used to having 3 screens at home that having one just feels like it's just so claustrophobic. So having 3 on the go would just completely fix that issue. And while we're talking about displays, let's talk about LG, because they turned up with one hell of a TV. The Wallpaper television, as it's been sort of labelled, is 2.57mm thin, which makes it look like when you mount it onto a wall that it's just drawn on as opposed to actually being a television, and it's so thin that you do in fact have to mount it. And it's not a standard like VESA mount or a mounting system that you'd see with any other television, it attaches with magnets. This TV is so thin, in fact, that you can actually peel up a corner when you go to take it down, and it's just ridiculous. It's what? Now, obviously all of the smarts need to be somewhere, and that comes in the speaker unit that comes with it, meaning you mount the TV wherever you want, and then you put the speaker under it, so whether that be in a drawer, or you can just use it like a smart hub, so that you plug everything into that, and then that goes out to your sound system if you don't want to use the integrated speaker, but it is still amazing. Sure, this thing looks like something out of the future, but the craziest part is you can buy one right now if you wanted to, at $8,000 US. This TV might not be for the faint of heart, but it looks absolutely stunning. Elsewhere, Samsung unveiled a few things, including their first ever gaming laptop, and as well as that, Xiaomi were there, and they showed off their white version of their Mi Mix, their completely bezel-less phone, as well as their TV 4, which is also equally thin like the LG TV, but it has like a bit that like pokes out at the bottom, which is where all the smarts are held. And how can you forget? AMD showed off their Ryzen technology, as well as a sneak peek at Vega, but that's such a big thing that I feel like that deserves its own video, so I'm going to be filming its own video, which should be coming up in the coming days. We've discussed so much, but I still feel like there's so much more to talk about. I mean, Faraday Future showed off their car, BMW were there with a car, and then Mercedes were there with a car. There's just so much going on that it's hard to talk about in one video. So I'm going to sort of spend the next couple of days picking and choosing topics such as the AMD Vega and Ryzen situation, and just see things that I really think are worth talking about and just discuss those, because there is just so much. However, if you liked this video, make sure to click like. If you didn't, I'm not quite sure what you're doing here. However, there is good news. You can click up here to see the previous video, as well as here to see a random video that YouTube thinks you'll love. And if neither of those are for you, hit subscribe, as we might have one in the future that is really great and you will really love it, trust me. Absolutely hit subscribe to see more videos like this one, and I will see you guys next time.